Hi guys, welcome to Manhood Explained. My name is Camille and today is 28th of April 2020. Welcome to video number 123. Today I decided to talk about, you know, what differentiates like lame and mediocre guys from guys who are, like really great guys, for lack of a better word. And I was pushed to that by yesterday's video because I was pushed to record about sexuality, and it's all very important subject. But every time I record a video, that kind of push me towards saying do it for her, put her in the first place, and so on. It kind of it has this vibe that some of you will kind of discard and say, I don't want to be this weak kind of man, and so on. And I talked about it some time ago, but today I kind of feel pushed to talk about it and concentrate exactly on that, to show you that whatever I'm trying to tell you is not to demeanor you, it's not to put you in the position of this kind of someone who just clean the dishes and cleans the floor just because it's like for whatever reason. And you've got to understand that yesterday's video was kind of the thing that I'm going to point out in some point of time. But I want you to understand that there's a huge difference in between guys who are like lame or mediocre, guys who are doing exactly what you're afraid of, like being this guy who is basically doing what's his told. Especially if this is your girl, you don't feel like a man if you feel that you pushed or pressured to do something like this. And there's a complete different story when you see someone who is really like a great guy, someone who's like all the guys and all the girls are looking at him, and they say, wow, this is someone to look up to. Have you ever asked yourself what is the difference? And you've got to understand that it's going to be a dangerous road to go if you ask yourself this question, because it's, as usual in life, it shows both extremes. But let me explain. One of the most important and dangerous thing to find about yourself as a guy, and it applies to you, my friend, if you're watching this video, that you are overpowered. In comparison to ladies, we are overpowered. We as guys. And let me explain before you're gonna torch me, burn me on a stake. You've got to understand that it's like, if you look at how we are structured, there are three major roles or major kind of areas that we are overpowered. First of all, it's like physical strength. Second is our lack of emotions, or kind of much narrower amount of emotions as we feel. And three, our sexuality, that we are much more kind of floating on, if I can say that. You know what I'm saying? Is we kind of live off this, and this is a very important subject for us, and this is why this is connected to yesterday's video. But you've got to understand that we're living in this crazy time when kind of everything is upside down, sort of ish. That don't get me wrong, it's very well. I really glad that women rights are amped much more than for the last 100 years. This is great. The whole thing about equality, I get it, and I'm for it. I assume everyone should have ability to do exactly what they want and not being stopped or kind of diminished because of whether it's your color, whether it's your sexuality, whether it's your gender, whether it's your religion or political beliefs. That's the whole point, that we're supposed to have equal opportunities. And then if I'm good at something, if I want to do something, why would I be stopped for any particular reason? But you've got to understand, if we look at past, and if we look at what studies basically said about how we're wired, it's obvious, and it's known for years or decades or even more, that first of all, if we're looking at physical strength, we are overpowered. Because if you put the same guy and a girl and kind of push them through the same amount of physical exercises, because we are testosterone driven, we will be much stronger. That's just a fact. We have more muscles, and we will be stronger. And that's why, because of the, if you look at the statistics, basically the statistical guy will be stronger than the statistical girl. Sorry if that hurts your feelings, but if you look at my recordings until now, and if you listen to the video to the end, you will see that this is why, as I said yesterday, it's all about understanding how to use it, and use it for good, and then all the situation changes the perspective. But you've got to understand that this is why the story of what happened until now is just showing us that we live in this patriarchal or society or world. But you've got to understand that if the situation would be completely opposite, we would live in matriarchal society. But that's why, unfortunately, the situation is that we as men, we end up in the situation where we are, that we are kind of accused of abuse, because this is exactly what we did. And if you look close enough, it's not about that we are overpowered, although some people go as far as that this is bad, that we are overpowered, but what can you do if we were created this way? But the idea is that because we were overpowered and we abused our power, that's why it's shoved in our face, and rightfully so. That's why lately you can see so many actors and entertainers who end up in jail, because they abuse their power. So, but first of all, physical strength. We are stronger, all right. But then you've got to understand that behind the physical strength is like a characteristics. But what we do, and what we're supposed to learn from this, that we understand that we're overpowered, is to control it. And if you don't, how you can control your physical strength? You're not gonna just lose some of it. But we have a problem that we combine strength with being violent, and that's a problem, because that's why you see that in general much more men abuse physically ladies than vice versa. Because if you put more physical strength with aggression and with this not being able to control it, then that's when you end up. And you've got to understand that this is one of the most important things to control it, because if you at least once hit your girl, especially if you're in a relationship, in a marriage or something, you'll never be able to come back. She'll never be able to say, no, he'll never hit me. Because if you did at least once, this boat just sailed. You see? So that's why control it and understand that your strength that shouldn't supposed to be directed into your relationship, but outside of it. It's supposed to be used to give her comfort and protection, and knowing that she could count on you to do whatever will require your strength, rather than she's supposed to be afraid of it. So control your strength. Second, we are overpowered from emotional standpoint. And ladies say themselves that we are thick-skinned, we don't share about our emotions, we don't talk about it, because most of us, we don't feel, or we don't experience a life through that as they do. Our variety or plethora of emotions that we feel are so much narrower than theirs, that I think, and I know that for so many of them it's hard to understand. But then it's obvious that if you feel less emotions, that it's much easier for you to kind of go through things, especially the hard ones, and just feel nothing. And that's why, from perspective of a statistical lady, you look like a psychopath. You don't feel emotions. You don't give a crap. You just want to be left alone and have fun and deal with your own stuff, because you don't care. But this is like a superpower as well, if you use it in a positive way. But that's why you have to control it. Control your inability to feel. Because if you're able to control your emotions, and that's kind of connected to the point number one, because if you use if you use this negatively, then you don't feel your emotions, but you can be violent really fast. Because if you really want to win the argument, you'll just move from emotions towards physical strength, because she won't be able to top that. And that's why you see many women kind of lose the argument, because the men use the strength and violence. And that's terrible. But if you learn how to control your emotions and not kind of fall for this game, then when the emotions rise up, we start to argue. And if you start, no, calm down, let's just talk about it, let's just let's breathe. If you not fall for this emotional play, you'll be able to use it to positive, and then you'll be able to turn every potential situation of argument to build your relationship, because you'll be able to talk it out rather than scream. And if you start to scream, that the emotions basically put your logical thinking in a kind of not existent state. They're like completely frozen. This ability is frozen, and there's no logical conversation, there's no finding a solution. And you probably know that if you argued at least once. So that's why if you control your emotions, you're able to use your strength of not feeling what she does to lead your relationship to peaceful way to solve every problem that is there. And third thing that you need to understand, that we are kind of dragged through life by sexuality. This is our strong suit, and that's why sexuality for men is a very important subject. And that's why if you understand it, you're able to use this to be kind of caring and use your sexuality to take care of your girl, to use your sexuality to be like a motivator for you, to take care of her, to want to be with her. Because if you look close enough, if you would not have sexuality, I don't know if you would be with girls, because why would we? We don't care. We just play computer games, watch our games, or I don't know, read books, and we don't care. But because we are so drawn to them, that the sexuality is like very, very visible way that we're drawn to our ladies. So if you are able to use this, you can build a really amazing relation, because you care, because you want to be with her. And if you look close enough, it's much more than just sex. And I talked about it in a few videos back. I think I called it the most important video about men's sexuality you can watch. You can go there, because I basically tell you that we express our emotions through our sexuality. So it's a much deeper subject than just being sexual. So it's positive, not negative. So kind of see that, try to understand this subject, and maybe watch this video before you say that sexuality is bad. It's not. But if you're not controlling your sexuality, as Napoleon Hill said, that sexuality is like the strongest force in the universe. And I kind of agree, because at least from our perspective, it just drives us nuts if we don't control it, and if we don't have a person that we with. That's why you see what's going on in jails. You see how sexuality can drive us completely nuts and take us completely overboard. That's why many wars were started, just because of the love to a girl, and all this story. But that's why if you look at physical strength, our lack of emotions, or this variety of emotions, and then sexuality, if you're not controlling this, you're gonna it's gonna be just havoc. But if you control it, then it puts you in a position that you see that you're overpowered, that you've got this like superpowers, for lack of better words. But it allows you to elevate yourself to not being the mediocre guy who's afraid of everything, or just do what he's told. But now, because you can see that all of this I can use to build, to help, to take care of, that's not putting you in a position of you being weak. It puts you in a position of complete overpower. And if you feel that at least once, you'll understand that you feel like a man only when you understand that you're overpowered, and you see that you can use that to build. You become like again, for lack of better words, it's like a godlike. Because in a relationship, you see that you're the higher authority. And as with everything in life, the more you understand about something, it shows you both extremes. You can use it for good or for bad or for good, and that's why it's your choice. You decided to go level up. You understand that you're overpowered. Now it's a decision to make. Where are you gonna go? And if you go on the negative side, you're gonna be worse than a mediocre guy. And you've got to understand that with a greater power, it becomes greater responsibility. As with everything. But that's why I want you to understand. If you're able to control this thing, you'll change your own way of looking at yourself forever. You'll never be able to go back. But if you look close enough, there's one word that puts this whole thing in kind of one bag. You've got to learn how to be patient. Because it's not a matter of how you react. It's a matter how it's not about your reaction, it's how you react. That's what I want to say. Because you will use your strength you can use your strength in positive in negative, or negative in positive. And so you're going to use your strength, but it's just a matter what is going to be the end result. So that's why be patient. Don't let yourself become violent. Don't let yourself to fall for this emotional game. Don't terrorize your girl. As many ladies will tell you, they're afraid of that more than physical violence against them, because probably much more of them experience this emotional terrorism than the physical violence. And then be patient with your sexuality, or control it. If you see that you're horny, and you see that it might bring some negative results, just go and deal with it. And you know what I'm saying. Control, and have this ability to control it, because then you'll be able to use it to build rather than destroy. So listen, that's what I want to say. This is what I want you to take from this video. You're overpowered. Whether you like it or not, whether you agree with this or not, you're gonna get to that stage in your life, because I see that in everyone who gets there. But it's just a matter of how fast you're gonna get there and what you're gonna do. As I said, you can go to negative, do something negative with it, or positive. And I'll tell you, if you see how it changes your own view at yourself, and if you'll feel how powerful it is to be in this place of being like a gentleman, being like a real man who is able to use his power to help and serve and build, you'll never want to come back. That's why think about it and do something about it. Because if you experience it once, you'll understand that this is exactly the role that you're supposed to play. If you liked this video, comment. If you didn't, comment as well. Give me a shout what you think about it, because this is a very important subject. I really want to see what's your view, what's your version, what do you really think, and what you're struggling with. And if there's anything about that or something else that you want me to record about, just give me a shout. I'll be glad to do it. And, well, that being said, see you tomorrow.